My name is Daan Berends, and today I will share some knowledge and experience with you that I built up as a creative director in the industry of digital signage and audiovisual technology. But to be quite honest with you, I'm not here only to share information with you. I am actually here to make a call upon you, as I believe that with our digital signage solutions, we are not maxing out the full potential of it yet. And I believe that is a waste, and I actually believe we are threatening the ROIs that we depend on by ourselves. And I will show you why. Now, when I say hardware is king, I'm pretty sure all of you agree with me. But we have to take into account that for our customers and our audiences, hardware ever is a delighter in itself, but rather is a dissatisfier when it's not working, and that's completely different. So, of course, exceptions make the rule, but I have never ever met a client that called me to say he or she was thrilled about a screen suddenly going black. And if you have been in that situation, we should definitely connect later on because I'll be dying to hear that story. So when someone says hardware is important, but not the most important thing, I'm pretty sure that you, as a digital signage professionals, feel different about that. And I expect you to feel different about that. You should. But from a client perspective, it's a different situation. It's not the delighter when it's working, it's a dissatisfier when it's not working. So, therefore, what I suggest is that the experience that the hardware creates is the actual thing that makes the impact. And in that experience, content plays a major role. So therefore, my claim is that hardware is definitely king, but content is queen. It's the content that moves people. It's the content that has the power to make or break the wonderful digital signage solutions we set up. And I believe when it comes to immersive experiences, we understand the power of content quite well. And as we understand that content is complex and it is relevant and it should be relevant, and we allocate great resources to the content, and it has our undivided attention. So therefore, I would like to focus on a different thing, as we will be having some great inspiring speakers on immersive experiences these 2 days. I would like to focus on more mainstream signage solutions, and especially for commercial use like retail. So think of the window displays, in-store displays, touchscreens, stuff like that. And my opinion is that those solutions don't get the attention they deserve and actually need to make them work and make them worthwhile. And I understand that those solutions might be a bit less sexy or less impressive and less Instagrammable, but ironically, that is the exact reason those solutions need more of our attention, simply because our audiences don't do that. And this illustrates it perfectly. Here you have full attention compared to zero attention. And when you go to visit a brand experience or a digital art museum or a concert, all eyes are on the content, all eyes are on the solution, and it has the undivided attention of our audiences. But when you look at the left picture, you see a complete different situation. There is distraction all over the place, and our audiences, they don't even look into our direction. They are just minding their business and living their lives. So it is our job we have to attract their attention before we can even connect with them, like Monica explained. So here's another interesting situation. From a brand perspective, On the left side, the smartphone is our friend, and our audiences use it to register the experience, and they will even promote the content for you for free. But on the other side, from a retailer and a brand perspective, that same device is our competitor. So before we even can use our digital signage solutions to connect with our audiences, we have to get past that damn device. So we have to do a lot of great work because it is not that easy. So if, and not win, but if we get their attention, we only get a split second to make a genuine connection with them and impress them with a message and persuade them. So what I'm trying to say is I strongly believe that digital signage is full of opportunities, and it's a great medium. But to optimize its use and to make the investment worthwhile from our client's perspective, we really have to have content that is spot on. It's a must-have, it's not a nice-have. And too often, to be honest, I see that fail. And I believe there are two main reasons why that fails. And one of those reasons has to do with our customers, obviously, but the other reason has to do with us. Now, let me start with our customers. The thing is, digital signage as a digital communication tool is still relatively new to most of our customers, at least to many of our customers. And so they lack knowledge. But beside the fact they lack knowledge often, it's just a tiny part of their entire media landscape. And I think we tend to forget that. Um, so when what I see happening, and I'm pretty sure you agree with me, that our clients, they just use the existing advertisements and they just resize it and maybe reshape it a little and use it for digital signage. And they even use print advertisements and digitize it and send it to our screens. And that makes sense, just not working. The other reason why content isn't always optimal has to do with us as professionals, as I believe that content doesn't get the attention it needs and it deserves. So I think we put a lot of effort in sales and we bend over backwards to influence and to persuade our clients of all the potential that digital signage has. And we focus a lot on C-level, but what I would suggest, what we actually tend to forget, we put a lot of energy in the integration from a practical point of view. But we tend to forget to focus on their marketing departments and creative teams. So, but they are actually the ones who have the power to make or break our solution, as they are the ones who make the content or brief our design studios. So what we're basically doing is we're putting the fate of the ROIs that we depend on in the hands of our customers who are not the experts. So instead, I suggest to fully intertwine creatives in your C-level strategy. So focus on the creatives first before focusing on the hardware. And I strongly believe that minding the business of our customers more leads to more business for all of us. So therefore, I call on you to make a big deal of spot-on content, as they will make or break the digital solution. And to help you help your customers, I will share some of my creative tips for spot-on content. And the first one is, and it's my main advice, is fall in love with the problem, not the solution. Before going all wild on hardware and tech specs and insane pixel pitches, take this step-by-step approach. First, start with finding the problem. What's the problem you're trying to solve? Second step, find out why that is a problem and dig a little deeper than you just want to raise footfall. Now, third, you find out how the problem could be solved. And you don't want to do that from a vendor perspective, you want to do that from a user and an audience perspective, obviously. So therefore, think content first when you try to answer that question. Now, the fourth step is, of course, find what hardware suits the actual problem and the solution. But here's the trick. If you completed steps 1 to 4, put it on repeat. Because often you will find there are more problems to be solved. And if you do find more problems to be solved, you have to check if the solution that you come up with solves all of those problems. And if it doesn't, there are two options. The first option is you need less problems. And the second option is you need more solutions. So my second tip for spot-on content is about the position, the location of the solution. And I believe that's often forgotten. And it's really important to think about that before you finalize the concept and the strategy, because the context depends on the location. But in turn, the content depends on the context strongly. The context is the main driver for content. So you want to bring focus to that, because a context makes a great deal. Think about the differences in how busy an area is, or what the viewing direction is, or what the walking direction is, the viewing distance. All those things matter. And if you want to attract people, you need the right font size for people to be even able to read your message, despite how interesting it is or not. And if you want to add interactiveness, like you see here with a QR code, it works perfectly. But it has to be big enough so people will be able to actually scan it and use the tools that you come up with. But also context is about other things you see around the solution. So think about other products you see and noise you hear, other people you see. The context is really important. And you also want to check if the atmosphere is vibrant or really calm, and if you want to match that sphere or you want to go for a contrast. And so the function of the area really determines a lot about the content. So take a deep dive into that context. Next is, my thing about digital signage is, what I think is great about it is that you can use it to distribute an endless number of content items. But the problem with digital signage is you can use it to distribute an endless number of items. The thing is, studies have shown that on average, consumers see 6,000 to 10,000 advertisements every single day. That's a lot. And no more than 1.3% of that advertising actually reaches our brains, as Monica explained. So it also means that 9 out of 10 messages are completely ignored. So when we take that into account, you have to make sure that the relevance is on top of mind when you create stuff, and less is more. And you should only choose the most powerful and most relevant messages to be displayed to your target audiences. And if you ask me, my advice is always to keep it at a maximum of 2 content items in a single loop. But if you walk down the shopping streets and you look at the window displays, for example, you will see 5, 6, 7 content items following up. And that is a waste of energy. And of course, you have, our clients have multiple messages for a different set of target audiences and situations. So my advice for that is to use content scenarios and choose the messages that match the situation. So define the situations first, create context, then you match the most relevant messages, and you use smart software to decide when to showcase what item instead of showing everything, because we're actually using this narrowcasting tool for a broadcasting with a broadcasting ID, and that's pretty weird if you think about it. So with digital signage, kill your darlings, and less is more. Now, especially that is important if you remember how lazy our brains are. 5% of our brain activity happens on a conscious level, 5%. 95% of our decision making happens unconsciously. So if you think we think again. And this means that we should make our messages as appealing and easy as we possibly can. And there's a challenge. So if you take that into account, my suggestion for content creation for mainstream digital signage solutions is to keep it short and simple. And any element or text or animation that doesn't serve the purpose of attraction and seduction and isn't 100% relevant should definitely leave the screen, as that is nothing but noise to our brains. So, as much as you love to, don't stack the messages. Don't talk about a big promotion for a certain product and add something about a loyalty program and, oh yeah, we won another award again. The brain doesn't work like that. Kill your darlings and choose what matters most and focus on that single message. And another interesting thing is, as you probably know, is that our brains, they process images 60,000 times faster than text. 60,000 times faster, that is insane. So we really have to work with strong visuals and visuals that match the actual copy. You should marry the two to make strong content. And you really have to put the effort in the imagery to attract and guide the eye to the main message. If you do that, you hold the winning hand. Now here's one of my personal favorites. Read the signs in a design. Even if you don't know anything about design, if you see a question mark or a pointer, be aware. Because using a question mark in your content is like yelling to your audience really angry and really loud and expect them to like and love you. It's not going to happen. And the thing with pointers is, unless a pointer directs to something outside the screen, you probably want to lose the pointer. If you need a pointer, you should probably try harder on the design, and you probably can do better and come with a better creation. So next time you see an exclamation mark or a pointer, be aware. My next advice is to actually close your eyes. Now, you could use this advice in situations where your audiences don't directly look towards your solution, but actually walk past it like this, like you see in the shopping streets. And the thing is, when we create content for that purpose, there's a strange thing that happens when we review it. We review it like this, with full focus, no noise or anything. So therefore, I say, look right through your eyelashes if you want to review content for a purpose like that. Or hold a content item like this instead of right in front of your face. Because your customers don't look at it like that. And if you check it like this, and it might sound weird, you can check if the animation is speedy enough. You can check if there's any noise you want to get rid of. You can check if the contrast in coloring is high enough to attract the eye. And if it doesn't, kill your darlings. Now, there's a huge difference, of course, in-store communication and shop window communication. And if a content item in your eyes looks too hectic and too flashy, it's probably perfect for a shop window. Next is to bring the fun in functional. Aim, when you create content, aim to find a smile. And that doesn't mean you have to be all funny Joker style. It means about showing deep interest for your customers and your audience. It's about being sharp and nitty. It's about being on point. And you can do that in the copy. You can do that in the image, in the animation, and of course in killer UX. Now, content is all about making your audience feel good. And your content has the power to do that, so please use that power. Now, my next recommendation is to stop throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks as a content strategy. Create a plan, set some objectives, set a plan, and then start with your creatives, use data, and optimize it. And that's a continuous circle. Now, my suggestion is to go find all the relevant data you can find. Use first-party data, second, third-party data, anything you can think of. And there's a lot of information available, but we kind of have to work hard to get those types of information, and to transform them into insights. But we actually need it, because if we don't, we're just throwing spaghetti against that wall. So the thing with data, in my opinion, is just start with it and look for it in weird places. And of course, you have the first to third-party data, but if you cannot connect to those data insights from your customers, you could also check what is trending on social media. Or it can be quite interesting to check the FAQs of your customers, or check in with customer service. There's a lot of information and inspiration, and data isn't about zeros and ones. It's about interpretation. And my advice on data is to just get started. Just do it, and don't be afraid if it's not perfect. Because as long as you're making better assumptions today, you're probably being more relevant than you were yesterday. So just give it a go. Now, these were my 9 tips to boost the ROI of our solutions with spot-on content. And you should remember that just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. And if you feel overwhelmed about all those creative tips or totally lost interest, I have one final advice for you. And that is to just hire a team of creatives, and wire them throughout your organization to do the work for you. So thank you very much for your attention, and good luck with crowning your solutions with spot-on content. And remember to treat her like a queen. Thank you very much.